Look, I get it. There's so much riding on Starfield being good, it's only fitting that as Xbox and Bethesda fans, we brace ourselves for the worst. I mean, we're used to being disappointed, right? And yes, the hype for Starfield has reached stratospheric levels, and at this point it's expected of Bethesda and Xbox to screw up their first-party titles. And hey, I don't know if Starfield is going to be a good game or not. There's a real chance it isn't going to be one. However, it will be anything but dull and empty like No Man's Sky was, and that's what I'm gonna convince you of. Let's acknowledge that there are some considerable similarities between these two games. Ginormous open worlds that use procedural generation to create planets so players can explore a universe. While that's a pretty large similarity already, it's the only one. In every other way, these two games couldn't be more different. The first reason is that they're both in entirely different genres. No Man's Sky is, or I guess was, a survival game about slowly gathering resources to help upgrade and enhance your equipment. It was a serene game that promised you infinite hours of getting lost in its colourful solar system. It was a game that was a laid-back experience of peacefully exploring the infinite universe. The problem is, people didn't want that from a game where you could explore the universe. They wanted excitement and adventure waiting on every barren moon they landed on. People wanted a Star Trek video game, not Rust in space. Starfield will be the exact opposite. It's a massive RPG on a scale well beyond what Skyrim and Fallout have ever been. It's going to be bustling with NPCs and have dozens and dozens of diegetic side quests to be found. Your quest log is going to make sure that you are never bored and always have some goal to pursue. So the nature of these two games couldn't be more different. One sold itself on isolation and serenity, while the other is posing itself as a grand galaxy-spanning quest, with factions and missions hiding out on every asteroid. But that's not what people are worried about. They're concerned about how, of Starfield's 1,000 planets, about 900 are procedurally generated. And sure, that's cause for concern when 90% of your game was made by an AI, with only a few touch-ups from human developers, but you're looking at this the wrong way. There are 100 handcrafted, totally original planets to explore. Can you even imagine that scale? Now, these planets aren't all going to be the size of Skyrim or anything, or if even one of them is, then I've severely underestimated Bethesda Softworks, and they're one of the most ambitious developers in the industry. But with 100 handcrafted planets to explore, each choked with quest givers, settlements, and events to take place, you won't even need to go to the AI-generated planets. But the reason I'm not worried about Starfield's procedural planets in particular is for one reason. I'm already used to repeated, uneven locations in Bethesda games. I mean, look at Skyrim's overworld. It's sort of jagged and uneven. Not everything makes a whole lot of sense for why it's placed where it is. Now, look at something like Tears of the Kingdom, and you can figure out why each object is placed in that specific location. It's all a part of making the world feel more natural. Think of all the times you discover something cool in Zelda. It's because it was placed there on purpose to wow you, and nothing directed you to find it. All my awesome moments of discovery in Skyrim came from randomly talking to one NPC and finding that it led to an entire intricate questline. There weren't really any moments in the overworld where I was wowed by a specific location crafted for the world. And if it helps to alleviate your worry, think of Starfield's 900 AI planets like this. They're Starfield's version of Skyrim's dungeons. See, Skyrim has an impressive amount of dungeons, and the depth and length of them add to their quality. You'll most likely spend most of your casual playthrough of Skyrim in its many dungeons, and while none of them are procedurally generated, they almost feel like they could be. This is due to the immense amounts of reused assets for these dungeons. They have the same textures, the same traps, enemy types, and architecture. They're not impressive because each one is so wildly different from the others, but because of the depth and amount of them put into the game. So when I hear Starfield is going to have 900 AI planets, what that translates to me as is that Starfield is going to have 900 dungeons. I mean, they didn't just make 1,000 planets just to say they did for the marketing. There's a gameplay purpose behind them, and that's where another Skyrim staple comes into play: Radiant Quests. Radiant Quests are randomized quests designed to get you to explore dungeons you haven't been to, and Starfield is almost definitely going to be doing something similar. Your factions will probably send you on a mission to look for resources, or capture a criminal on one of these uninhabited worlds. Sure, it may not be exciting content, but it can be a way to relax with the game once all the faction quest lines are complete. I love Radiant Quests in Skyrim because they keep me coming back to the game now that I've finished all the major quest lines, and it's a peaceful way to continue exploring this world I love, and doing that on a galactic scale sounds incredible. Starfield could be Bethesda's buggiest game yet, and be the final nail in the coffin for Xbox's first party, but no matter how it turns out, there's no chance of it being a tedious, uneventful trudge through a desolate galaxy like No Man's Sky turned out to be.